So who's ever said I'm too busy, right? This was me. I wore busy as a badge of honor, right? Comment in there. I mean, we got to own this, okay? Because this is like a badge. This was my badge on. I'm busy. How are you doing? Oh, I'm busy, right? It was always something I was saying. I felt it. And I think a lot of you have had that similar feeling. So I want to read you a quote. This thing changed everything for me. Tim Ferriss, some of you may know him, right? Being busy is a form of laziness, lazy thinking, and indiscriminate action. I read this and it punched me right in the gut. All right. And I decided, all right, I gotta make some changes here. So I don't want to bring Eve on this because I mean, Eve's in our minds. She knows more than we do about ourselves. So I want to get her opinion, but I want to read the second part of this because I just wanted to, that first is pretty impactful. Now the second part of that quote. Being busy is most often used as a guise for avoiding the few critically important but uncomfortable actions. All right. And we see this. We see just being busy. We mistake busy for productive. And it can feel like you're doing a lot, but you're just spinning your wheels. So the first thing I did was I created an optimal work week. Very first thing I did. I created an optimal work week and I stuck to it. All right. You see everything on there. This was years ago. This is probably 6-7 years ago at this point that this was what I was doing. That was it. That's what I created. And I stuck to it very, very, very well. And I worked on it very, very hard. The next thing I did was I defined my process and my business model. I read in E-Myth Revisited that, and this stuck with me, that a process that, like if you go somewhere, you have an experience and it's good, you're very likely to come back. If you go there and you have a good experience, but it's not the same, you're less likely to go back. And so the McDonald's all over the world, the Burger Kings, they have a set process. You know what you're going to get. There's a reason why they're so successful globally. And I wanted to replicate that. So I defined my process and my business model. The third was niche and USP. Now I want to combine these for a moment because I've also witnessed in our program, the advisors that have the most success have this so well defined. Because here's what happened. We have a lot of advisors that come in and within a couple of weeks, they're having great success. They've launched, they're having meetings, they're making their money back, they're doing really well. So I'm like, all right, all we got to do is get everyone to launch in 2 weeks and everyone's going to be successful, right? It's not that simple. And really looking at it, these were advisors that knew what they were doing, knew their message, knew their business model. And I call it just put it on steroids with our program, right? And that's what they did. So these two steps are very important. And I've really noticed that even lately, it's been reinforced to me. So there's 2 notes on this. We're going to go much deeper into niche and USP next week. We have some great guests lined up as well. And, spoiler alert, you're going to have me and Brianna for the next 3 weeks after this. So buckle up. Hopefully we'll have some fun. Hopefully you enjoy it. You need to create a unique message to penetrate noise. Lots of noise out there. You need to penetrate that noise. And you need to create urgency. We talk a lot about timing. A good salesperson, and I was never a good salesperson. Sales would be, you can change someone's timing, right? You can create urgency with a phone call or a chat. That wasn't really my style, that power type seller. But what I learned is by words and by, chatting with people and finding a problem, I could create a solution that created that urgency. So the better we are creating the urgency in our USP, in our statements, in our messaging, on our website, the more opportunities we're going to have, because that means that person is to stop what they're doing, talk to you right now, because without it, they're going to miss out. And that fear of missing out, as we all know, is very powerful. So timing and urgency, touched on that real quick already. Web presence. This is interesting as well. So this is something, 10 years ago when I started as an advisor, it wasn't a big deal. Actually, it was about 17 years. It wasn't a big deal at all. 10 years ago when I started on this journey that we're talking about here, just kind of changing the way I did things, web presence wasn't as big of a deal. Today, it's huge for a lot of reasons, okay? But I call it the leaky bucket syndrome. You don't know what you're missing out on because these people are anonymous. They're looking at websites, looking at your social media, checking out your LinkedIn page. And if you're not on point and message consistently and with continuity, you're going to be missing out on opportunities. And we're going to talk about the most expensive thing you're putting that money to. All right, spoiler alerts, you're prospecting. That's where the money's going. And if you have this leaky bucket, you're just wasting dollars. Okay, so your web presence. That'll be Facebook, LinkedIn, your website, making sure of that. And what does it lead to? It leads to trust. This is a real person, a real company. They have success. They've been mentioned in major media outlets. They have a profile picture. I know who they are. They're easy to find. Those are all very important. I know their phone number, all very important things when you talk about managing someone's money, as all of you know. I wanted to share with you a quick anecdote real quick. We had 2 advisors that didn't have a website that came into our program. They said they were going to get their website done. I followed up with one of them. I followed with both of them, but one of them specifically, shared with me the results he was tracking himself. This was his screenshot he sent me. I think it was March 4th, early this year. I'm sorry, May. As you see here, he launched his website. He was consistently getting 11% acceptance, 10%, low response rates, 2 or 3% on the high end. He launched on the 3rd. By the 5th, look what happened. Almost double, 100% increase in acceptance rate, and his response rates went crazy. And what this told me is that they're doing their homework. This is people out there doing their homework. They checked the website. They saw he's a real person. Everything looks good and legitimate. I have trust that this is a real person that could potentially help me. And everything went up from there. So just a little reinforcement on that. I know I'm going fast here, so I want to make sure to run through all this. If you have questions or anything, please pop them in there. I know you guys are watching that too. So number 6 is capture information. We earlier this year, we did a power hour on becoming the Facebook or Google of your market. And I believe that very strongly. I think that moving forward, the advisors that are going to survive and thrive are the ones that adopt technology, adopt all the strategies we talk about, and collect information. Information is key, right? So just a couple tips here. Website, you have an email capture right on there. You can look at your LinkedIn connections and pull them from there. Our shift members know very well that there's gold in that. All the past leads and lists you bought, I know we've all done that, right? They're there for the taking. Friends and family, just going over past emails, start aggregating all of that. That creates a great foundation to start a lot of the things we're going to talk about. Technology's too hard. Who said that? Don't admit that one. Keep that to yourselves. All right, got to use technology. So CRM, really important. This was one of the main things that transformed my business, because here's what happened. Started using LinkedIn, started having a ton of opportunities come. They don't convert right away, right? People, you know this, people have their own timing, their own way of doing things, but follow-up is super, super important, right? Fortune in the follow-up. So by collecting that information, putting it into a CRM, creating tasks and following up with them every day, I would go in a task. So everybody I ever talked to had a task with a follow-up that was associated with it. Whether it was a day from now, a year from now, didn't matter. And I would reach out to them and I would just push that task along. So I always was reaching out to people. Now I hear all the time, I'm overwhelmed. We don't want you to feel overwhelmed. Baby steps. These are all little things you can do. Just setting this up. Don't worry about implementing anything. Just start setting it up. Get it in place. Very, very important. All right. And some of the best advice I got when I started the industry was Ameriprise, 2 senior advisors, had like 80 years between both of them, tail end of their career. First event I was going to, he told me, there's going to be a lot of stuff coming at you. Pick 3 things that you can use and implement after this. Only 3 things. Don't worry about everything else because you're not going to be able to do it. So again, all the stuff we're going after, pick a couple of things, baby steps. There's plenty of time to do all the stuff that we have on here. All right, prospecting. Put it on steroids, performance enhancing drugs, right? That's not illegal with prospecting. That's where the money's spent. Your most expensive, in the most cases for most advisors, between time and money, that's where your expense is. And the better you are at doing all the foundation, fundamental things, not letting things fall through the cracks, setting up all your foundational stuff, like we talked about, this is foundational things you need to do. This is going to be much better for you because that information is super valuable into the future. I can tell you right now, I've stopped prospecting. I'm not trying to grow my practice. I'm very involved with advisors. I love what I do. I work with you advisors. I enjoy it greatly. Very rewarding for me. Last message I sent on LinkedIn was October of 2019. I got a call 3 weeks ago from somebody asking me to help them with a case based on those messages. It's out there in the universe forever. And once you get scale like that, that's why steroid, you put it on out there like that, huge things start to happen. Automation, right? Technology is key. Anything that can be done by a robot should be, right? They're accountable, not taking sick days, don't forget things, don't have personal problems. Not that staff and people that are by your side working with you aren't important. their time is more valuable spent with the things that aren't redundant, something that a robot can't do, talking with clients, helping you prepare for meetings, case design, all of those things that you have to do each day and every day. So this is still a very important part. We're not trying to replace people. We're trying to make them better and put their time to better use. And delegate, hire for your needs. I mean, one of the biggest jumps I took in my business was when I was finally, and it was a stretch. Couldn't really hire somebody. I was right at that point. But once I pulled the trigger on that, I took a big leap in my practice because it freed up my time. But I had all the foundations set up, right? I had everything in place. Just hiring to solve a problem isn't going to matter if you don't have everything set up in your foundation. So frees up your time, focus on revenue generating activities instead of things that don't generate revenue. All right. And allows you to work on your business, not just in it. And that's a disease us advisors have. All right. It's there. It's something we certainly have a problem with. We did a delegation thing. We can come back to that, but I'm going to leave it on this slide. I know we're right up against time. I know a couple of you had questions about the steps. So there are the steps right there. I hope that was valuable. It's a high level, but I think and a lot of you have been through all these steps at different phases, and you can revisit some of them now and put them in cement and make it a little bit more firm.